What's going on? Am I live? The stream thing was just very weird. I have no clue if I am. Looks like I am. Now I am. Maybe? I'm waiting to hear me. YouTube was just sending me... Oh, I can hear me. Oh, good. Am I live? Okay, I can hear me going, am I live? So that's good. Alright. Hey! What's up? It's Jim. That got a little scary there. YouTube was not being chill. It was like, are you not going to stream or not? But I am here. So, hello, Ryan Walderson, Nathaniel Fogel, Unblood T, Jacqueline Haynes, I think, Purple Goop, Ashley Shane, Austin, Jordan Salafalo, Bruce Parker, Twisted Razor, Jorge Espinoza, Sunspot Me, Zane Powers, King Master. Let's send out the tweet. Let's get this shit going. I think. I'm very sorry that it got weird. YouTube was being very weird there. I was concerned. Hey, Afro Ninja 360. How is it going? Okay. Let's show me now. Hey, alright. Hello and welcome to Movie Crap Live. This is the show, Saturday nights, where we talk about movie news. Hold on. Bloxy Oxenwinkle hitting me up with the first super chat of the night. Kevin James Jaws Sound Guy review when it was art. Let me tell you something. Hold on. Bloxy. Opening up the Red Bull first. Let's bring this up. I did watch that. It was amazing. I love what they did with with that scene in Jaws, taking a really kind of touching scene and making it actually really funny between Roy Schneider and his kid. I love that. That was great. Kevin James, you're awesome. Cheers to you. Are you Jim or are you Cubert like Pixels? What? Okay, thank you, Austin. I don't know. Thank you. Cheers to you. So I've seen a lot of, hey, are you going to talk about Felix? I got a Felix Funko Pop for my birthday. He's right there. There we go. I'm very happy about that. I got it from my cats. That was a nice kind of gift. I also got this Spider-Man. It was a Spider-Verse t-shirt, so I look like I'm totally cool to go to school in the fall. I don't know. Anyway, it was a good birthday, which was on Sunday. It feels like forever ago. Had fun, had a cool, chill day. I watched Adventures of Robin Hood. I posted a movie log, watched more Mystery Science Theater than I think I've ever seen, Mystery Science Theater than I thought I would. It was a cool day. But yeah, Adventures of Robin Hood was kind of my big movie night. I thought about Jaws, but I didn't. But then I watched that that Kevin James Sound Guy, and I was like, fuck, I kind of want to rewatch Jaws again. So I don't know when I'll do that. It was my anniversary last night. We didn't really go out because you can't really get a babysitter right now. I mean, I'm sure you can, but didn't feel comfortable with that. So we just stayed home and watched. I've never seen The Bodyguard with Whitney Houston. It's not great. Someone gets shot at the Oscars. Why that isn't on Oscars Greatest Moments, I don't understand, but now it should be on everyone's list. I don't know why no one had mentioned that one before. And not enough celebrity cameos at the Oscar thing. And then we watched Yesterday, which you can tell from my tweet. That movie's not not great. Didn't have as much fun. And then in that world, spoiler, cigarettes also don't exist. Like, was there overpopulation? They really didn't get into a lot of... Anyway, that movie. So I do actually have a lot of major stories. Like, literally, the how movie theaters are going to operate changed significantly this week. This is an insane movie news week. Things were canceled. It's fucking nuts this week. So, Hazbin Hotel, all that stuff. We got a lot of stuff going on. I have a special guest video during the break. I have a special guest, mainly movies, during Amazon Prime. You should check out her YouTube channel. She is great. It is in the description of this video. Thank you very much for being here. I also wanted to point out something, and Sinram brought this up, and I have seen it happen, but I wanted, if you're watching this later, I always try to preserve the chat. I always select to preserve the chat on the side of this. Sometimes YouTube decides, I'm not going to do that. So they just don't for a while, and then eventually they bring it back. So if you're watching this and the chat isn't there, I'm sorry. When I get a new computer, which I'm hoping to do soon, and your support through the super chats and everything else is helping me be able to do, I will have a setup where you can actually see the chat on the screen. But for now, that's the way it is, and I'm sorry. I did everything right on my end, from what I could see. It just YouTube takes a while to do that. I'm sorry if that ruins the experience for you. I very much apologize. It should be right up there. It used to be. Sometimes it takes a while. This week it took a very long time, like almost the whole week or something. So that sucked, and I'm sorry about that. Trying to think. Two kind of YouTube-y type thingies, I guess, which I didn't get to talk about because of so many other things going on, but I'll bring up two. One, if you were aware, I had a regular show video essay. It's called The Regularity of Regular Show. It is a video that was very personal to me. JG Quintel actually retweeted it. He doesn't tweet a lot, so I used to get, whoa, hold on. Austin says he never sings Eleanor Rigby in Yesterday. Cheers to you, Austin. He gets close, but yeah, you're right. He sort of does at the end, but I didn't get that because so much musically would have changed, and culturally they don't really get into that stuff. It's just like whatever. They don't really have as much fun with it as I would have had. I would have been like, oh my god, like Elvis, everything sounds like Elvis now. Like, what if David Bowie sounded different? They were just like, yeah, everything's the same except these few things. I'm like, that's not how culture works, but good for you. And then and then Zay Power says, can you give me your old computer? No, it's probably going to go to Sophie. But I can put you down for after she gets whatever crap we're done with. I can ship it to you if you really, in like whatever years. That would be funny. Like, why does it have a Peppa Pig laptop on there? Anyway, cheers to you, Zane Powers. And cheers to Mandela Butterfly. I don't know if you have a question, or if it's just for support, that's very nice too. But if you have a question you want me to read, do at Jim, and I'll read it because you did do a super chat. But thank you very much, Mandela Butterfly. You're always very nice to me and supportive. Anyway, so my regularity of regular show video, let's bring up this now, is not on YouTube anymore. They chose for it to be taken down and removed. It is gone. So that sucks. It bugs me. It also bugs me because people on the show who worked on the show liked that video. I was proud of it. I don't know if I'll release it on a Daily Motion or something like that. I don't know, but right now there are no plans of any kind because of that, and it sort of blows. So that's what's going on there. Also, the other YouTube wouldn't let me post. If you check out my Instagram, if you saw my January 2020 video, it's very quick. You see Sophie dancing a little bit to Janet Jackson, but there was a longer thing that was going to be in it. I uploaded it. YouTube was like, no, you can't do that. So I just went, okay, I'll just cut that out, cut it down. And they let me put the cut down version up without being copyright claimed or whatever. And I posted what was originally going to be in that video, because if you didn't know how the journal videos work, I sort of make them, I show them to my wife. My wife goes, cut this out, do this, do that, and then I go through them again and so forth. And I'd gone through that whole process because obviously it's more of my family in there and all that stuff. So I make sure my wife's cool with it, and we collaborate, and some of them are videos she shot and all that. So anyway, but it sucked because that was like a part we both really liked. And so it's on my Instagram if you want to see that part. So you can watch it. And follow me on Instagram, I guess. It's mainly, I'm not like one of those cool YouTubers where it's like, oh, I didn't know. Okay, hold on. Sorry. I get distracted by you guys because you guys are fun. Where is I going with this? Oh yeah, I'm not one of those YouTubers who's like all my Instagram posts are promotional for my videos. It's literally just a regular guy's Instagram. So if you like my journal videos, Instagram's great. If you don't, then don't follow that. Actually, okay, Medela Butterfly, hold on. Medela Butterfly says, just want to support. Oh, thank you. I do have a question. What are you doing for Betty Boop's birthday tomorrow? It's interesting you brought up. I've gotten Sophie into Betty Boop, so I'll give us an excuse to watch Betty Boop, and she loves having birthday parties for all her stuffed animals. So we will now have a Betty Boop birthday party. I can guarantee you I will at least pitch that idea. All right, before we get into the main show, I love your Instagram. Thank you, Austin. All right, man, Betty's 90 years old. The Betty Boop cartoons are still fucking great. In fact, I want to review one of them at one point. Not today. We've got enough stuff to talk about today, but I'm just saying in general. Someone's making Justice for Jim. Oh my goodness. If you guys make that. Anyway. All right, so let's Justice for... That would be cool if you guys can do what I'm talking about later with the thing with Spongebob Anime, but I don't think I'm that popular. All right, so before we get into it, my stuff and pretty much everything I do in terms of videos is supported by you, the fans, by viewers like you who watch, because oh, now Ryan's doing this thing. Okay, Ryan said put it on VidMe. Oh wait, put it on Blip. Oh right, put it on Daily Motion. That's probably what's gonna happen. Cheers to you, Ryan. Thank you. All right, so this and pretty much everything I do in all my videos are pretty much supported by you, the fans. I would say like 90% or so is supported by you, the fans, either through my Patreon, where I have tons of exclusives, my entire public access TV show, the only way to watch it on demand, unless they randomly air it, which they still do. If you want to watch it on demand, the only way you can actually do all of it is through my Patreon or other exclusive videos. I make commentaries for both Knock Force and Cleus the Fetus, my former cartoon shows, and other stuff like you know who wins the movie review vote early and the vote totals and all that stuff. And you get all sorts of cool rewards, and I think it's a good Patreon. As well as the super chats during the show, which you hear me shout out, is also very supportive. So thank you very much. If you are not financially able to do so and just like watching them, that is fine. A like or just watching in general, sharing, whatever, is always appreciated. And thank you all very much, because I think I have a really great fan base and a really great community. And going into that, I have the Discord, which is really great. Austin and Zane Powers doing an amazing job with that. Please check out the Discord and hang out there. Oh, what's this? Hold on. Sorry, I didn't want to drop. Okay. Your boy Chips Ahoy. That's a fucking great name. First time making it to the stream live. Thank you for being here, your boy Chips Ahoy. That is... Goddamn, I'm jealous of that. Cheers to you, man. Cheers to you. Thank you for being here. I hope this doesn't disappoint. All right. But the Discord is really great. If you are watching this and you never got to, if you want to hang out with people on the chat, never can, or you want to hang out with people in the chat, not to oversell Discord, but these are mainly like the cool people you see on the chat, and myself are in there in general and hang out all the time. There's also an Ask Jim channel. I try to answer every question in there. If you want to ask me any question, so it's like this part, but if you never get to or never get your question answered, I will definitely do it there. There's a suggestions thing. If you want me to review something or review something on the show, it will actually get on a list, or I will actually consider it in that channel. And it's also got a great community. They do watch-alongs on Friday. It's fucking great. I have to say, I'm very proud of the Discord, and Zane Powers and Austin do a great job. Tweeted YouTube, Justice for Jim, bring back the regular show essay. Oh my goodness. Maybe I should have brought this up later. All right, so, more like your bro Oreo. Nice, Ryan. All right, before we get into literal entertainment-changing news, let's talk about cats, motherfucker. All right. I dropped a rubber band. Now it's bugging me, and this is like Jim's a normal weird person. Stream. Does PewDiePie do this in streams? Does he stream? What does he do? Does he watch? Does he play the Pogs? You know what I was thinking about the other day? Everyone's like, Fortnite's so big and all this stuff. Would there have been, if YouTube had started in the late 90s, would there be Tamagotchi YouTubers who are like really popular? Or like, I know there would have been Beanie Baby ones. Think about that. Think about that. How crazy would that have been? That would have been crazy. Anyway, so cats. Sorry, cats. I didn't think Cats ruined 2019 or 2020. I think it enhanced it. I think it would be worse. We'd still be talking about Rise of Skywalker. Remember when we all hated that? Anyway. So, Andrew Lloyd Webber said the problem with the film, Cats, was that Tom Hooper decided that he didn't want anyone involved in it who was involved in the original show. He said the whole thing was ridiculous. Now, I gotta say, Cats has always been ridiculous. I think it's amazing in what it is. I think it's an absolute train wreck of a disaster, and I think that's part of what made the original Cats. But I love it that people who make Cats are like, no, it's a bad movie. And I'm like, no, the culture's already taken it on. There's already Cats rowdy screenings. Lean into it, bro. Like, come on, do that whole, like, thing like with The Room, and let's get into making this a midnight movie. I know that got halted. Is that on a streaming service, by the way? I don't think it is. Like, why is that on? How are we all in quarantine? Everyone's drinking more, and Cats isn't on a streaming service. Universal, you fucking drop the ball. You drop the catnip. You screwed up, because that would be such a hit if I could get drunk and watch Cats. I just had to get drunk and watch The Bodyguard. Like, how much more fun would my anniversary be? I'm just going to say the Cats would have made that better. And I watched yesterday. Ugh, could have watched fucking Cats. Is that on a streaming service? It's not. I don't think it is. Anyway, I've just had too much hits of Red Bull, and this is going to be an interesting show. Cats will be on HBO soon. Not soon enough. Not soon enough. All right, so the big news with Hazbin Hotel is that Doug Walker decided to review Hazbin Hotel. I think no one expected the nostalgia critic to review Hazbin Hotel, but clearly the time has come. He has decided that after 41 million views, it is old enough to be nostalgic or something. I don't know. But he decided to... No, I'm joking. I mean, he did actually do that. But A24 has picked up Hazbin Hotel to make it a series. What's going on with that specifically? Because there seems to be a lot of misinformation on Twitter and so forth saying it's been picked up by HBO, it's been picked up by that. It ain't been picked up by no networks at all. Not to say what happened is not substantially huge or anything like that. I actually think it's a huge deal for an independent creator to literally get, I checked, 41 million fucking views. That's insane. And clearly, if you're a production company, you're like, if that was a show, that would be the biggest show on TV. That is like how big that would be. 41 million. If they get half that, that is a huge monster hit. So, what I'm saying with Hazbin Hotel is any network would pick it up. Everyone's saying it's going to go to Adult Swim. It's going to go to HBO. A24's whole channel A24. Nice, Ryan. Cheers to you. What I'm saying with what this is, A24 as a TV unit is less of a known entity. They do have relationships with both Apple and Amazon, or Amazon Prime, who we're going to be talking about later. But I think basically we don't know where this is going to go yet. We just know that they have a production company involved, but that's huge for online animation. It shows you how... I'm kind of more interested in online animation because looking at the Spongebob anime and looking at actually Saber's video, I was like, man, I don't know enough about online animation, and I think I need to know more, especially after when the Smiling Friends, I didn't know about that, so I kind of want to cover more of that stuff. But it seems like the industry is also sort of noticing, like, hey, these things get a lot of views and have a lot of interest. So I could totally see them going to a certain network. I don't see this going to Apple because Apple wants to be more all audience, and no offense to Hazbin Hotel, but it's sort of not that. So I think it's obviously more adult skewing. So I would assume they're going to pitch it to things like HBO Max, Netflix, and Adult Swim. But there's nothing that's been heard of right now. But the fact that A24 is involved is a big deal. They clearly want... they're a good home in terms of movies. I'd say mainly what they do, by the way, in terms of movie studios, they're sort of like what Miramax was back in the day. They're like, what if we just bought a bunch of movies that everyone thinks are really promising and good? And everyone's like, man, A24 has good taste. And you're like, I mean, not necessarily. They just go for the hype stuff and buy it and then, release it. So, and that's sort of what they're doing here, but they are supportive of those filmmakers and so forth, not to minimize their involvement, but I mean, we'll see what's going to happen. I really hope Hazbin Hotel gets shut up, Ryan. What, the guy from that's funny. Sorry, I told you to shut up. This is all right. But that's make me feel like you made me feel stupid, right? That's funny. You guys are making me laugh. All right. But I think this is very promising for online animation. If this is successful, I would expect other creators to get deals based on this. I think other people will try to find something like this. Oh man, right? That was good. That was really funny. I think other animators will get deals like this, but it's also like 41 million for that pilot is pretty undisputed. It was going to happen. Who was going to do it? But I think A24 is good at helping creators and things like that. There's also, I think, the fourth. Austin doesn't know who Jenny Nicholson is. I'm so confused about that. This is the fourth creator, a female animation creator from the School of Visual Arts, who I went to. I think it's, or is it fourth creator? It's like Rebecca Sugar, the Owl House creator, this, and Breadwinners, I read. Anyway, that's pretty cool too. So congrats to SVA. You're good, Ryan. Don't worry. I'm sorry. It was just, that was very funny. That caught me off guard. I was like, wow. All right. So, these are two kind of date things, but they're still, one is big, one is like, yeah, sure. And then we'll get into some pretty big theater news. Ecclesia Feast was in the 90s. It was in the early 2000s. But, pretty close. The Animaniacs are coming to Hulu on November 20th. We finally have a date on Animaniacs. It felt like, were we ever going to get a date on Animaniacs? Ryan, you're funny. That's taking me a minute. I was just laughing now. Sorry. I hope by saying shut up, I didn't offend him or something. I feel bad now. Anyway. Oh my god, hell of a boss for I would love Hazbin Hotel to be on O-Axis. I've been wanting to do a O-Axis anyway, I need to do something on O-Axis. Is it Lost Media at this point? Animaniacs is coming to Hulu on November 20th. I think this is a great date because that is the date right before Thanksgiving. I know Hulu sort of picks and chooses what they're going to put on, the episode week drop or the all episodes at once thing. They kind of haven't made up their mind. There's been a lot of doubt on Hulu actually this past week other than this announcement, so it's kind of funny. This seems to elicit a lot of kind of passion and things. I think it's really great. I've seen a lot of people saying I really want to play Animaniacs for my kids, and I think that would be a great thing to play for kids, and I want to show it to Sophie now. I'm like, this gives me an excuse. So Thanksgiving, I can see a lot of baby boomers being like, baby boomers, sorry, wow, millennials playing Animaniacs again for their kids, because even though that's been, Tiny Toons and stuff has been on the service, I don't think most people try to play that on there. So it's interesting that they didn't try to do this on HBO Max. It seems like there's some reasoning people are saying, calling windowing, where they're like, well, let's let these properties go to different services so they help the overall brand of these companies. It sounds like these executives sort of fucked up and then came up with a theory to kind of overall clear up their own asses. But I think Animaniacs on November 20th, that's going to be awesome. I'm really excited. The redesigns didn't look too drastic or anything. I barely noticed there were redesigns. I like that they got the voice actors to promote on the Hulu Twitter, which was awesome. It gets me very excited. Bill and Ted Face the Music has changed its release date again, most likely because of the Mulan and then Tenet and then all these things that they're coming out on August 28th. It kind of makes more sense than November 2nd, which was sort of a weird day. But they released a kind of featurette showing the girls a little bit more, which I think is actually good because they really haven't shown much of them. And it showed some new footage. I'm still excited for this movie. I think it is going to get totally gobbled up between, we have Tenet and not Animaniacs, sorry. We have Tenet and Mulan, and then we have people keep bringing up the new Charlie Kaufman movie, which we'll get to later, but there's a lot going on that weekend around that time, and I can see Bill and Ted kind of having the one weekend and then kind of falling through the cracks. So I think that's unfortunate for this movie. I wish it looked like when it was originally going to come out at the end of August that it would have a better time to kind of shine for a few weeks, because it wouldn't have to deal with, you know, the future of movie going forever to contend with. But I'm still excited for this movie, and I thought the featurette was actually really cool, and it's still a good date. So anyway, oh god, and the Phineas and Ferb movie. You're right, Ryan. Damn. Okay. Alright, so let me take some water. Let me drink some water here before we get into movie theaters might be over forever kind of news. So let's talk about Mulan first, and then we're going to talk about the Paramount Decree, because these are pretty substantially big things. I thought Mulan would be the big movie news thing, and then the Paramount Decree dropped yesterday, and that's a pretty big deal, and I'm going to explain that. But let's go into Mulan first. Mulan is going to drop on Disney+. This will be on September 4th. It will be on Disney+ as a premium kind of on-demand thing. You can pay $30 to basically buy Mulan as long as you have Disney+. Zane Power says, Ted does have a chance against Bill and Ted. For my money, that is correct. Cheers to you too, Zane Powers. I actually don't think I'm reviewing Tenet because I'm not going to the theater right now. So, anyway, because of COVID. But yeah, so basically how this works is you rent. There was sort of some confusion. There was even confusion over what date it was in the trades, but on September 4th, with your additional $7 you're paying for Disney Plus. Mulan will be an additional $30 as a one-time charge, and you basically own Mulan for the entire time you pay for the service. You have access to it. A lot of people have wondered how long the $30 charge will be until it is just free on Disney Plus, and you can watch it anytime you want. I'm sure that will happen eventually. I seriously doubt it will be $30. There's been kind of financial guesses on how much Mulan could possibly make. It has about 60 million subscribers for Disney Plus. If about a third or so pays the $30, it would be enough to kind of financially justify it. That's if a third does. I don't know, because not to get political, but I think anyway, this isn't really a political show, but I know with the it was going to be like 200, 300, it's like 400 bonus for the I think it's 400 bonus for what you get for unemployment right now. Was just signed as an executive order. They're trying, you're not going to get the 600 they were formerly getting. I don't know if $30 for a movie really makes sense unless your whole family wants to see it. And then, yes, it financially makes sense. I thought that was a pitch On Demand should have been using about 10 years ago, and they didn't, because I noticed, like, oh, hey, if my wife and I watch this movie financially On Demand, it makes a lot of sense, but they weren't really advertising it that way. I've noticed they've changed that. But, Buster. Okay, sorry. But I think this is maybe substantial in some ways. But I don't think we're going to see this with a lot of other movies on the Disney slate. It seems like the four that people have questions about is this, Soul, New Mutants, and Black Widow. Why can't that happen? Why are we talking about that with Soul, I guess, and not Black Widow and New Mutants? Soul, it seems to be the one that was rumored the most. We'll see about that. But I think the other thing is, I know the people in New Mutants have flat out said they have contracts to say they have to go theatrical, and they would have to be bought out from those contracts. And it doesn't seem like Disney wants to do that. As well as, I guarantee you, Scarlett Johansson has a back-end deal, which they would have to pay out if they want Black Widow to do that. Or she would need a cut of that premium VOD shit, and maybe they don't want to do that. Which is why the Netflix deals are so expensive, because they're basically paying out the back end, basically. It doesn't seem like Disney wants to pay out those deals. I don't think, and Animat actually asked me on Twitter, like in public, not on Anyway, about that, it was like, well, why wouldn't any of the actors in Mulan have that? Maybe some of them do in certain regions. I don't know. I know the actress is sort of new, so I highly doubt she could do that. But if you're more an established actor, like the people from, you know, Game of Thrones and Stranger Things that are in New Mutants, as well as the director or Scarlett Johansson, you can do shit like that. If you are nobody, then Disney can kind of do whatever they want. So if some of those actors are more famous in China and in other places in Asia, maybe they said, well, you have to release our movie then. Disney's like, fine, we will. And if we can't, then it's on Disney Plus, and maybe they paid out those people. I've read nothing about any of those people having deals. I don't know their contract specifically. Soul and animated films don't usually have that. However, Soul is done by Pete Docter, who's pretty high up in the Disney chain, so he of all people, he could probably have one of those deals. I don't think this will become the norm necessarily, but I think it is something they're going to explore. If this is a huge success, expect more movies to do this. Expect them to do that. I don't think I will. I think most people will torrent the fuck out of this. But most families don't want to deal with that. To be perfectly honest. Most families don't want to deal with that. So, most families won't torrent it. Most families won't get a VPN and torrent it and all that stuff. They're going to pay the $30. This thing will probably make a certain amount of money. I don't like the cost, because effectively, like, if you were not signed up for Disney Plus and you really want to see Mulan, you're paying $37 for it. Now, in some ways, if you think of a ticket price, as well as if you theoretically were such a fan, you buy the Blu-ray, you are sort of saving money because you sort of own it, even though you're paying rent on it in a way. But I just don't like this model, to be honest with you. I know a lot of people have said this is probably one of the ends of the theatrical model. I don't think that's necessarily the case, because I think they know what is going to. I think they know this is a bit risky, and I think they're testing the waters. The other thing with these and the live action remakes is these things make money primarily and exclusively from box office. The other things they make money off of is merchandise, but not merchandise of the live action remake. It's just an uptick of merchandise in, you know, Mulan stuff, which, you know, of the animated movie. The other thing that I think Disney probably really likes about this, and I think I tweeted about this, but I forget, is basically like, if you sell a movie on demand like Trolls World Tour or Scoob or something like that, 80% of that that money goes to the studio, which is a higher cut than a theatrical thing, right? But and 20% goes to the on-demand service, whether it's Amazon Prime, Apple, your cable, whatever. But if we have, you know, Disney Plus, Disney gets 100% of that money. So if Disney had the same hit in terms of Trolls, now this movie needs to make a lot more money than Trolls, by the way, because of its high cost. But if it does, they will make a shit ton of money. If it makes $300 million in America alone, that's $300 million that goes straight to Disney. And they're not, you know, they've the most they're spending now is marketing. They're basically paying back production and marketing, and they're going to get a higher cut. I think they could possibly do it, but I don't know. We'll see if this really works out, because I sort of think it can work in some regard, but I also think it is tremendously shitty. I understand it's an expensive movie, but as a consumer, I don't care. That wasn't my decision to spend $200 million, and that is a lot, and I just don't necessarily agree with that amount of money. I don't like the $20 video on demand, and it doesn't really work unless it's a huge title. And I know that's the box office now, but we'll see how it all goes. This sort of makes me nervous, because I think it's unfair to consumers, but in terms of money, it's going to work out for them. Now, I'm sorry this is, I should make another song, you're right. I'm sorry this is like the depressing part of the show. So, in other movie theaters are over thing, the Paramount Decree in America was overturned by the Department of Justice. Basically, what the Paramount Decree is, or the Paramount Decision of 1948, was that movie studios could not own movie theaters. That decision has been changed. It doesn't exist anymore. There's a sunset period of about 2 years where they sort of got to figure out how this industry is going to work now. But effectively, yes, Amazon could buy a movie theater chain if they want to. That is what is going to happen. It is kind of not a great situation, but it could happen. So what what will happen, we'll see. But I think the thing is this is scary. It is not something, people are saying this is going to happen, that is going to happen. I cannot see a Disney buying like an AMC and it exclusively playing Disney movies, because movie going is not what it was in 1948. In 1948 and 1930s, when these things were going on, people would just go to the theater and be like, what's playing? Cool. It's a movie. We're happy. There's no television, per example, by the way. So, and these studios were making a ton of content. Like, way more than they're making now. B-movies, things like that. So for a studio to be like it is in 1948, I just don't see that happening right now. Netflix is maybe the only one, but I also don't think, Netflix probably knows that a lot of those movies aren't going to play theatrically the same way they're made on demand. Now, on Netflix, sorry. Could they figure out how to make movies like that? Sure, probably. But it's going to take a while. I don't think this is like, when we return to theaters, I don't think it's going to be too different, because it's so much on events. No studio, even Netflix, can have that many events and movies to fill a theater at this point, because there's no studio system like there used to be. There's nothing like that. In terms of the other thing is they weren't allowed to do block booking under that. I hate to break it to everybody, but Disney's been doing that crap for a couple of years now, where, do you want Star Wars? Well, guess what? You have to have the good dinosaur on all these screens. We all know you think it's going to bomb. We don't care. That is an example. I know that happened. And Disney was making a lot of unfair practices. I can see Disney definitely taking advantage of this. But here's what I honestly think could happen, is I think a studio will buy a theater chain. I think that is definitely what is going to happen. Specifically that they did this decision now. They didn't have to. It was something they were going to reevaluate. It seems like they did it purposefully, because they know theater chains are in trouble, and I wouldn't be surprised if we see... I don't think most people are going to talk about this until an Amazon or something buys a theater chain, which is scary, but if they do, I think all of these companies know they sort of have to rely on each other the way movie-going is now. Because in 1948 was a very different, media consumption time than it is now. And people, like, if you guys think about it, you don't just go to the movies just to see a random-ass thing. Most people don't really do that in large numbers. People go to see a Star Wars, or they go to see a Marvel movie, or they maybe see something that Disney didn't make. But they see things specifically for certain features, and no studio can really do that. Now, will they set up could they now set that all up to do that at this point? Could a studio be going like, all right, it's happened, let's go into the plan that we wanted, and then be like, okay, on this slot we're making this and that. But also productions change. You can't just shoot things exclusively in a studio. People don't shoot as quickly as they did then. I really don't think they're going to go back to the way they were. I just find that to be incredibly unrealistic. In terms of indie movies, I think indie movies will probably get screwed, but indie producers need to rethink what they're doing. And they probably should have by now, because when I was looking at this and thinking about Hazbin Hotel, animation has gone online for a long time now. And when everybody else was like poo-pooing going online, and the indie features were, they should have been doing that. If you're someone who's making an indie movie, release that on YouTube. Have a Patreon. Set up a premiere on YouTube. Like, stop it with this Vimeo crap and this pretension that I think live-action filmmaking has really been hindered by. This clearly is the end for you guys, but it's not the end. It could be a new beginning. And look at the opportunities you have, and there's just no one's really going into that as much, and I find that very disappointing, but that's a larger topic. I think what could work out for us is a studio could go, you know what, I'm going to spend out the nose, Disney or Amazon or whomever, to really renovate this thing and have the old, huge movie palaces of old. Now, I know that I'm trying to look at this as many different angles, but the movie palaces of old are majestic and amazing, and it could make movie going better, to be honest with you. They could do that. They could, in fact, say, how about we have, we can own, all the theaters, the AMCs, but we'll have a specifically in each state have a Disney-only theater, and it'll be like a one screen or something like that, and it'll just be amazingly well done like the El Capitan. I can actually see that happening. That's probably a little more realistic in terms of things happening, but you could see movie theater chains actually going for the better. I wouldn't be surprised if we saw a big studio buy up somebody who we didn't expect, like a I think Warner's might buy some, Warner Media. I wouldn't be surprised if, like, what if they bought an Alamo Drafthouse? That's on the table right now. So we're going to see what happens. This is going to be a big issue for a long time. I think movie going, without a doubt, this week showed us that movie going and movie consumption is going to change. Whether we like it or not is what's up for debate. But guess what, guys? If you don't like that they're spending $30, if you have to spend $30 on Mulan, don't see it. You know, I know the critics said it, like, if you don't like it, don't go. But in these certain situations, if it really offends you and you're really upset about it, please don't support it. But we'll see who's going to buy whom. I still think Amazon Prime, if they're going to buy anyone, it's going to be Regal, not AMC, because they're pre-existing relationship. But we'll see. And if Amazon Prime, you know, I could see what they are doing is just give preferential treatment to their own movies. But I think they'll realize, hey, we're not making any money off of our own movies. We don't have huge hits. I know a lot of them want to have their own Star Wars or Lord of the Rings or something. But we'll see about that. Anyway, I'm sorry that this was the more serious part of the show that I'm talking about Ren and Stimpy. Maybe I'll talk about something before Ren and Stimpy. But I do think this is a huge deal. This is literally, I posted on Twitter, this is maybe the biggest movie story of my lifetime. And I'm very serious about that. I'm completely serious. Like, please take this seriously, because when these stories drop, some of the times that's why I mention things like this could become a thing. This is something that will inevitably, yes, become a thing. Someone's going to buy one of these chains. I wouldn't be surprised if an AMC or Regal or Cinemark is up for grabs, and that's why this went through the way it did. We'll see what happens in the coming weeks. I wouldn't be surprised if when these theaters chains go on sale and need money, that something gets bought. I wouldn't be surprised if that happens this year. To be quite honest with you, I don't think we'll see what it was in 1948, and I don't think that's possible. Anyone who says it's going to be like that is an idiot, but indie producers have been needing to relook at what they're doing for a long time. If you're worried about indie movies, the problem with indie movies is they kind of rely on the A24s and all that stuff. You really can't. You need to come up with a better distribution model, because it was barely working for you before, and it's not going to work now. So I'm sure everyone's shaking in their shoes. We don't know what it's going to be right now, but it doesn't look good. Okay, I'm sorry, guys. Hey, Will just showed up. I know Disney owns the El Capitan, but you actually had to get a court order, Ryan, to own a theater. It was like a big deal. They really had to, like, legally defend just doing that at the time. Anyway, nice to see you, Will. All right, so let's talk about a few. Jeez, that was like a big. Oh, I should have gotten more water. Oh. All right. So the Phineas and Ferb trailer came out for the movie that's coming out August 28th. It looks really cool. It's mainly going to be more about Candace, which I think is a cool thing. I've always liked Phineas and Ferb. I actually sort of want to get Sophie into it in anticipation for this movie. It looks like a fun movie. It looks like a good return to form. I know they were doing Milo Murphy's Law, which I didn't see, but it looked like a lot of fun to me. I really enjoyed the trailer. It made me want to go back and get into Phineas and Ferb, which I'm noticing these reboots really make you want to spend hours and hours looking at this older content. So I thought it looked really good. In other news, Harry Potter is going to be coming to Peacock for only October, and then it's going to just play on their channels for months and then come back in like March or something. Supposedly executives are saying this is actually good for the Harry Potter films because they can get more fans outside of the HBO Max and Warner Media family. Sure, guys, maybe just signed a deal and didn't really think of the whole how this is going to work, which is, to be honest, what I really think is happening. But they're acting like there was this whole overall plan, and maybe there was. Probably not. But you're going to see the Harry Potter movies be on Peacock for a little bit, leave, be on TV, which I don't understand why they can't have both, and then come back and then leave again, whatever. In other news about Peacock, they're going to have Office extended episodes when they get The Office in 2021. These extended episodes are kind of the cuts that would be on iTunes, or the producers' cuts they used to release when they did that stuff on iTunes to kind of entice people to buy them. I've never seen any of those. I hope they give you the option to watch either extended or non-extended. I don't want them to have exclusively extended. That I don't like that a company's like. I don't like when companies mess with the original kind of release versions, and like if you just want to watch the old Office that you're used to, I think that could ruin the experience. But they're trying to entice people, be like, hey, I know you've watched it on Netflix 500 times, but what if you watch it 500 more times over here? Which, to be honest, I can totally see happening. But I don't know if the extended things will really entice people that much, but I hope they give people the option, but they haven't said anything about that. So, Ren and Stimpy is getting a reboot. It is not going to involve John K. And it's going to be more... I kept seeing... There seems to be a confusion over whether Comedy Central or Nickelodeon, but somebody at Viacom is making it, as Viacom is dusting off pretty much all of their animated properties that are older and more adult skewing, and Ren and Stimpy is one of them. There's been a lot of backlash about this, mostly because why are they prefacing like this older animated property and bringing it back, or they could be, you know, dumping money into new animated properties. I would say Viacom hasn't really done that and is famous for not doing that at all, so not, you know, I'm not honestly surprised. But it's been interesting to see how this news went, because one, John K. Viacom has said John K. is not involved and will make no money whatsoever from it. So, you know, that's off the table. Right around the time we got the new Happy Happy Joy Joy trailer, which is interesting. The timing of all this, but I think people don't realize how big Ren and Stimpy was. I think that might have been like a people maybe younger don't really know what's going on with that. I've noticed people seem to be a little surprised by how big that show used to be. I think people don't realize that because it was really like a pretty big era-defying show. And when I was a kid, like everybody loved Ren and Stimpy, and even really like John K. I didn't even really know much about how. I sort of knew he was creepy. I didn't know the extent of it till the BuzzFeed article, but you know, I think it was a big deal, and there's a lot of people who don't know about the John K. stuff. There's a lot of people who don't know about the Lasseter thing. It doesn't, in animation, it's like the Harvey Weinstein thing, and everywhere else they sort of read about it and forgot. So I'm not really, I don't think the Ren and Stimpy brand is as tainted as we think it is. I think you could do something, because a lot of Ren and Stimpy ran for a long time without John K., and you theoretically could do it if you get Bob Camp back. I'm not as against as most people. I think people are like, why can't we dump money into original animation? I just don't think Viacom was ever going to do something like that. So it's sort of a moot point, because they're just, should they do that? Yes. Are they going to do that? No. They just don't do it. So it's like, whatever. I can see the potential in it, but I think people forget Ren and Stimpy was, you know, hugely influential, very big show. Like even the cool bands at the time, like Nirvana, were huge fans of it. I just don't see. I sort of get the backlash, but I think the backlash is mostly from people who didn't really experience it or growing up with it as much as I did. I hope they get a way to kind of break the brand away from John K. But I think it's going to be hard. I think it's going to be really hard, because so many people are against it, and that brand and Ren and Stimpy are sort of tainted from them. But Ren and Stimpy, you know, it's still a good show. I hate John K., but it's still a pretty big part of my childhood, and a pretty huge show, actually. I think it's probably one of the biggest shows of the 90s, and I think they looked at that and go, you know, we're already working on Rugrats, Doug's owned by Disney, what else could we do? We did the Rocco movie. This brand is sitting here. It still, you know, gets referenced. It still gets a lot of interest. I still hear people saying they'll be interested in checking it out, even if they haven't watched animation. And that's what Viacom's in the business of doing. So I just think it is going to happen. I know people are against it, and we should be talking more about new original shows. And I think, you know, things like the Owl House or Trick Moon recently, I think actually the animation community does do that pretty well if they're excited by a new thing. But it's just Viacom's not in the business of doing that. Viacom is in the business of doing reboots, and they looked at what properties are biggest, and I don't think Our Real Monsters is doing it. I hope they get someone creative who does something like amazing and original and everything like that. And I think they could find a way to reboot it in a way. I also think, hey, do the Mighty Mouse thing too, guys. Like Mighty Mouse: The New Adventures was fairly insanely influential. Like, do something with that version of Mighty Mouse, because I think, one, that's like a crown jewel of a show in terms of animation history, but it's also a property everyone knows, like older and newer people know, and you could, be like, hey, check out Ralph Bakshi's Mighty Mouse again. It was a pretty important show in terms of culture. So, all right, but nice, Ryan. All right, so the trailer, there was a kind of a preview for Don Hertzfeld's new cartoon, The World of Tomorrow, Episode 3. It looks really cool. It looks surreal and weird, and like Don Hertzfeld, I encourage all of you to check it out. Man, I kind of want to get water. I was talking a lot there. I don't know. I might need to go get a water break real quick. I'm thinking of ending things, then I'm going to get water, because I drank all the water. Can't drink Red Bulls all the time, bro. Alright, the trailer for I'm Thinking of Ending Things turned out to be far more surreal and weird and strange than I ever would have guessed. It looks really, really cool. It looks like just like they get into a weird, strange world of like visiting this guy's parents, and like this girl has like doubts about their relationship, and I could kind of say like I know what it's about, and I also think I have no clue, but it looks really amazing. I think this film is going to get a lot of attention overall. I do think, like, through Netflix, this could be their big awards push, because we don't actually know what's going on with Mank at the time. But I think, Charlie Kaufman, I hope this does really well, because I've liked his, between Anomalisa and Schenectady, New York, as well as the films he's written, like Being John Malkovich, Eternal Sunshine, things like that. He's a great writer, and he's a great director, and I'm very excited for this. This is probably one of the most excited films I'm excited for in the fall and coming up soon. I'm really excited for that. All right. Okay. All right. I need to get water. My throat needs water. So when I get back, I'll talk about things. I'm sorry if it was serious. We'll be less serious after I get some water. And don't forget adaptation. You're right, Austin. I did forget adaptation. I shouldn't. You're right. Anyway, I'm going to get some water. I will be right back. The surprise videos for the actual bathroom break later. Ryan knows what it is. No one else does. But anyway, no Tenet spoilers. That was last week. I'm going to get some water. I'll be right back. Hold on. No. Alright, sorry about that. Okay. Alright. Red Bull ain't good for the throat. I mean, it's okay, just... Get duped? I don't think I did. I think you sent it to me, but this show's a little packed, so I think it got cut. I'm sorry. Yeah. Sorry, Will. Alright, so Bradley Cooper is going to be cast in Paul Thomas Anderson's latest film, or that's the way it's looking. It is about a coming-of-age story of a young child actor in a kind of California high school and an older kind of director-producer thing, something like that. They were trying to get people like Harrison Ford and I forget who else. It's like Harrison Ford. Anyway, they're trying to get like kind of a baby boomer actor to be that person, but it seemed like that wasn't really working out between, I think it was Harrison Ford and I forget who else. But it looks like that's going to be Bradley Cooper. All of the cinephile world was like, Bradley Cooper, now we got to take him seriously. Like, this wasn't a thing that they thought. I don't know. I don't understand the Bradley Cooper hate. I'm like, I don't think he's amazing or anything. I'm just a little like, whatever, guys. To me, I don't know. I think it's a good opportunity for him, and Paul Thomas Anderson usually knows what he's doing with people. So I'm excited for it. Sounds cool. It sounds like a cool coming of age thing. It's more reliant on the kid, and I guess it'll depend on who they cast as a kid. But I'm sure it'll be cool. They should have asked Kurt Russell. That's a good. Did they ask him? Anyway, Kurt Russell. Wait, what? Anyway, the New Adventures. Yeah, well, that was a different New Adventures. See, I said Mighty Mouse: The New Adventures. I think they had to name it that because of the previous New Adventures. Seth Rogen has talked about the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles reboot that he's working on. Apparently, he's going to focus more on the teenage part of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, or at least according to him. I guess I think their other ones have done that. I'm a little like worried about this, to be honest with you. In some ways, I think he could do a good one. I'm also a little concerned. I know often he thinks his writing's better than it is. I haven't seen American Pickle. This isn't a critique of that. But I noticed, like, when he was doing Pineapple Express and talking about stoner movies, I was like, bro, like, calm down. Like, you didn't reinvent the stoner film. So I think he might be giving himself a little too much credit on the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles front. But it sounds like it's going to be more of a teen movie, which could be actually kind of a cool thing to do with the Ninja Turtles. I don't think we've ever gotten that before. So, yeah. Alright, so in other kind of, I guess, problematic thing news, Harry Shearer talked about The Simpsons recasting. I'm just going to read his quotes and then we'll get into it. I think there's a conflation between representation, which is important, turtle acne and puberty from Zane Powers. Cheers. Cheers to you. Thank you for the super chat. Okay, so Harry Shearer said, I think there's a conflation about representation, which is important, between representation and performance. People from all backgrounds should be represented in the writing and producing ends of the business so they can help decide what stories to tell and with what knowledge, he said. But as far as the acting side, he says the job is playing someone I'm not. And he was saying they don't get paid by the voice. So I think what he's saying is he wants more representation, and he's fine if people are recasted in a certain way. I don't know. He's kind of is like doesn't think is necessary because people can voice whomever and actors should be able to play, which is kind of like a thing people have said, but I don't think really holds true anymore in our current political or cultural context. I mean, I'm glad he's for more representation in terms of behind the scenes and stuff. I don't know if he's ever actually done that in his entire career or has any history of doing so. And you know, I think he's giving up Dr. Herbert, but it does seem like they're trying to make the point like we're not we don't need to necessarily do this, and you know, this is not a thing, and like we're not holding anyone back. But Simpsons never employed a lot of black people, so I think The Simpsons are probably a show that went on far longer than it ever should have, and now they're sort of having to deal with the fact that culture's changed since when they came about. And I think they want to keep it going, but they need to find a way to do that. And these voice actors are sort of ill-prepared to talk about these things. But yeah, they do get paid by the episode, but I don't think they get paid. What they mean by paid by the voices, he doesn't get paid by how many characters he does. I think they all make about the same, but they don't make, the actors don't get paid by each character they do, I thought. But anyway, I don't know. I'm just like, I think The Simpsons have maybe gone on too long, and a lot of these people talking about it is not helping anything. So, yeah. I know there's a lot of talk about Rise to TMNT. Is it? I guess it's over. That sort of sucks. I'm sorry. I'm not down for that. I barely got to see that show, so I wish I'd gotten to see more. I thought they were going to treat it better than they did, but apparently... Whoa, computer, what are you doing? Apparently they didn't, so that sucks. Alright, so Who's the Boss is getting a reboot. I thought this actually reboot sounded pretty cool. It is the new show will take place 30 years after the events of the original movie. No, blah, blah. Sorry. Okay, Who's the Boss? The reboot. Here we go. The new show will take place 30 years after the events of the original series, centered around former major baseball player, retired housekeeper Tony, and his relationship with his daughter Samantha, who's, Alyssa Milano. She is now a single mother living in the house the original series was set in line with Norman Lear's classic shows. The new comedy will explore generational differences as well as opposing worldviews and parenting styles within the dynamic of a modern family. So basically, like, fuck, what was that show that Norman Lear did that I liked too? Whatever. Anyway, no, it's funny. I totally. Whatever. It sounds cool. I'm sort of down with this, but it should be. We'll see what's going to happen with that. There's no announcement of where it's going or anything like that. If it's going to be on network, if it's going to be on streaming. Isn't it One Life to Live? Something like that? No, that's a whatever. It sounds like it could be cool. Apparently, the other cast members they'll work in giving them appearances, but I think it could really work for that. No, not connected. It's like anyway. Alright, so Ratchet, the trailer for the kind of follow-up to our kind of prequel, I guess, to One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, following Nurse Ratchet, who's going to be played by damn it, I'm forgetting everyone's name tonight. Anyway, Sarah Paulson, sorry. And produced by Ryan Murphy. It looks very much in the Ryan Murphy vein. I don't know if it, I don't know if One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest needed more expanded universe. It's a great movie. One Day at a Time. There we go. Thank you, Medela Butterfly. I do love that. That's a great show. Oh, and Ryan said it also. Well, anyway. One Day at a Time. Anyway, sorry about that. But Ratchet, it looks interesting, but I don't know if One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest really needed any of that. I mean, I wouldn't mind seeing Jack Nicholson's character. I don't know if, Nurse Ratchet... couldn't we just have a different nurse? Why does it have to be Nurse Ratchet? I don't really get it. But, it's a thing that's happening. If you've never seen One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, that should be an excuse to do so. Please watch that movie. It's a great movie. Go see One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest before Ratchet comes out. The makers of Loving Vincent have a new movie done in a similar style. I'm assuming it's based on some sort of painter or something. Cholpy? CHLOPI. It looked really cool. It was a cool trailer. Loving Vincent is a cool concept, but I don't know if I'm as sold on it as most, but I still sort of like watching the animation. It's impressive in a very gimmicky way, so I'm down for that. There was also a trailer for a film called Stuntwomen about stunt women in the industry. And, now I have cool things to talk about. And explaining, stunt women have always been a part of stunts and their sacrifices for the industry as well. Alright, so Captain Marvel 2 has finally gotten a director. There's been a lot of talk. I know they're trying to reach out for a female director, and they have gotten Nina DaCosta, who is directing the Candyman reboot, which I think at this point, if COVID hadn't happened, we would have seen and possibly liked. I haven't seen anything from her, so I can't really talk about her as a director. I know her directorial debut is on Hulu. I'm kind of wanting to see that. I sort of said on Twitter that I want to see more of her stuff, but it's the first. I think people are saying it might be the highest budget a black female director has ever had in Hollywood history. No one's sure what the budget is, so no one's sure if that is true, but that is the speculation at least. After the first Captain Marvel, supposedly Marvel was not happy with the direction of that film. I would agree with them on that. I know I don't really like to talk about Captain Marvel because I got a lot of crap for it, even though I didn't. I sort of just said the movie was okay, and apparently that any opinion on that movie is not fun. So, but I will say that Captain Marvel 2, I think this sounds promising. This sounds cool. I think the best thing about Captain Marvel 2 is also that it didn't show any of her personality in the first one. So whoever gets Captain Marvel 2 is going to get to actually explain who Captain Marvel is and explain that personality, which we've never really gotten a whole movie of that. And I think this could be a real fun kind of film. If she was able to do that. So I'm very curious about the Candyman reboot. I want to see her first film, and we'll see about that. So 2 things were canceled this week. 2 kind of shows that I really liked. Man, I'm drinking a lot of water tonight. First is the show High Fidelity was on Hulu. It got canceled, basically premiered this year. I'm sad about that. It was shot around where I live. I quite enjoyed it. I thought it was going to have more shows. There's been a lot of doubt on Hulu and how big it is, and how maybe Disney doesn't entirely know what to do with it, and you can't premiere bigger movies on there or anything like that. There's been talk of that. But it was canceled. It was pretty shocking. I thought it was garnering a lot of talk and things like that. Who knows how many people watched it, because they never tell you things like that. But I thought it was a cool way to reinterpret High Fidelity into a series. I thought it was a great show. I hope Canceled Too Soon, the podcast, does an episode on it. I think that would be great. But I hope we see go see High Fidelity. It was a cool show. The other thing, and I wanted to take a thing out of the show to talk about this, because I think my relationship with this show is, I think, different from what it is for most people and what people think of it now. But E! News was canceled this week, and after 29 years. And my relationship with that show, I watched it in the 90s. It was a very different show then. It had different hosts. Ted, whatever, I kept forgetting his name, Ted Stenopoulos or whatever, hosted. He was a great host with Marie Menounos. And it was more of an industry show at the beginning. And it obviously changed. If you're more familiar with E! News, you probably are like, what's this guy talking about? But it really got me more into entertainment news. I remember watching it a lot when the Titanic box office run. They talked about box office. They talked about the future of film, virtual reality, virtual performers. They'd actually get into topics and industry stuff. That show obviously has changed as you are more familiar with it. But I'm still sad it's gone. I watched a lot of entertainment news when I was a kid, from Entertainment Tonight to Access Hollywood. Most of it was junk. But E! News was a little better back in the 90s. I'd say up until the mid 2000s, it really started to change. And when it started to fill out specific demographics, rather than doing whole industry kind of stuff. Apparently it moved to New York at the last year and became a morning show or something like that. But I'm going to kind of miss it. For a long time, it was just a show I had on while I made dinner and barely paid attention to. And then I'd be like, wait, what? Why are they still talking about the Kardashians? And that was sort of the end. And then I think I was officially done when that Kat Sadler thing happened with the pay discrepancy. I just never went back. So anyway, oh, what'd you just do? Oh, do you want to be on this one? No? Come on. You want to be on? No. Oh. Okay. Hey, look who it is. Let's see. There you are. Want to say hi? This is Olive. She's my buddy. And you're not happy. Okay, forget this. Alright. Anyway, but I just wanted to say that show used to be better. It sucks that it became what it became. I don't know what it was like at the end. And I don't think they treat a lot of people very well. But I hope, the Ren and Seacrest years were okay. Kind of tried to come back. Anyway, that's it. All right. Yeah, she was not happy. Olive was not happy about that. All right. So John Wick 4 and 5 will be shot back to back whenever Keanu is available from Matrix 4. Apparently, Keanu is getting very busy. I recently learned they were trying to they were trying to get him for the role that Jude Law got in Captain Marvel. Marvel really wants to get him for something, and apparently it's not worked out at all. But Keanu is very busy between the Matrix things, and he has Bill and Ted coming out and all this stuff, and the COVID stuff made his schedule even worse. So he is he apparently, yes, they're going to shoot 4 and 5 back to back. There was no real announcement on if it was going to be the same director, and I noticed some conflicting reports, so I'm assuming it would probably be. But we'll see about that. But it sounds like we are going to at least get a John Wick 5, and it sounds like they're probably developing it because they're realizing this guy's schedule is getting crazy, and they want to just like get as many John Wicks as they possibly can. I can't believe we're getting into John Wick 4 and 5, but hey, that's how we do, I guess. The trailer for Hoops is going to, which is going to be on Netflix. It looked really fun, actually. It sort of didn't look like something I'd be into. They curse a lot in it. But it looked kind of fun, like a fun kind of basketball show. Some of those like sports things I get more into, and this looks like something I would want to see. So I liked the trailer. It was pretty cool. So yeah. All right. So where are we? We don't seem to have a ton of stuff. Oh, I talked about that too early. Why did I do that? All right. So there we go. So apparently, none of the original creators have made any... Oh, whoa, hold on. Thoughts on the increasing chance of the Community movie from your boy Chips Ahoy. Cheers to you. I think, based on that table read, I don't know if you saw the table read, I actually think the charisma is there. Whether it will be good, I think Dan Harmon's kept up quality pretty well. Of it happening, it looks like it probably will, since Community's been so big on Netflix. I don't think Chevy Chase will come back, but we'll see. I know there have been talks. I think it will probably happen. It's really depending on Dan Harmon's availability with Rick and Morty, but I think Netflix could financially or somehow figure that out. So I actually think it'll probably happen at this point. It's looking better than it ever has before, at the very least. So apparently none of the original people who helped make the Disney animated films have made any money off the live-action remakes. I'm not entirely surprised by this, because Disney kind of looks at those as their own IP and not created by any of these people, and normally barely asks them for any involvement. I don't really like many of these movies. They're all pretty terrible, and I think they're pretty terrible because they don't have the involvement of these amazing creators and directors and things like that. And it seems they've angered most of these people because of that. So I think they should actually get them more involved, or maybe stop making them and just re-release their things. Maybe the Mulan thing really just kills the whole live-action remake thing. But it seems like people sort of respect them, which is whatever. Antebellum, which is a movie I'm actually really excited for, is going to come to VOD, or premium VOD, I should say, on September 18th. This is after the Tenet, Mulan, Bill and Ted Face the Music off over Labor Day, so gives them some time. I think that's cool. I'm surprised Antebellum didn't try to come out over the summer. It seems like something that people would have liked, especially considering everything going on. I'm curious about it, but it seems cool. I would have seen it, but I was kind of interested in seeing it, so it sounds cool to me. The League of Their Own series, which sounds cool, with Abby Jacobson and a bunch of a really cool cast, has been given the green light at Amazon. I sort of thought it was already just happening, but it sounds like it officially is. Then there's going to be a Knight Rider film that's in development with James Wan. I think a Knight Rider film could work. I don't know if they'd be doing it in the Dora the Explorer Brady Bunch vein, or what they're doing. It doesn't sound like they're specific. It just sounds like this is in development. I grew up liking Knight Rider as a kid when it wasn't ironic. I don't know if it holds up now. I don't know how you would do it. I guess you could do some AI stuff, but depends. I think this would work as a Netflix movie. I don't think anyone would or a streaming service movie. I don't think it would work as a theater film necessarily. But we'll see about that. But it's at least in development. All right, where are we? All right, so apparently I found this to be very... We don't have a ton more stuff, do we? No, not too much. And then the actual break... No, I don't really feel like it, but I want to play this video, so we're taking a break anyway, which is cool. Ryan knows what it is. So apparently there was going to be a twist ending in Groundhog Day. But the twist ending was from a previous version of the script before Harold Ramis got involved. So let me explain what this was, because... Whoa, that was spooky. Okay, hopefully we have power for a while. Am I still streaming? Alright, This is scary. YouTube just got mad that I wanted the regular show video back. So what was originally Groundhog Day was going to sort of start like Palm Springs, where he's just in the time loop. You don't actually know uh, you don't actually know where you don't see him like before the time loop. He's just stuck in the time loop, and a voiceover explains the narration and stuff like that. And then at the end of the film, it's sort of like the same thing with him and Andie MacDowell, but then Andie MacDowell wakes up and leaves the room, and then she has her voiceover, so he's stuck as a time loop in the first day on Groundhog Day, and she's stuck in a time loop the day after Groundhog Day. And so once he leaves his time loop, the narrative switches to her time loop. That was the original script idea. They didn't go with that. They changed it. But that's sort of interesting. I actually didn't know that. I kind of think that's actually pretty cool. That sounds like a cool idea. So one movie I just sort of heard about today, and it seems like it's going to become a big Oscar movie or a big fall movie or whatever. I don't know what is going on with that, basically. But Regina King directed a film. It's supposedly about civil rights leaders having a meeting after the big Muhammad Ali fight. I guess the Rumble in the Jungle, to my understanding. I didn't get a lot of info on this, but I keep hearing about it. It sounds cool, but it's cool Regina King directed a film. I'm curious to see what happens with that. Sounds kind of neat to me. I was actually seeing on the Be Kind Rewind talked about a movie that was sort of about a similar topic, so maybe I'll see just civil rights leaders meeting after the death of Martin Luther King and what they should do with the civil rights movement, and that actually sounded really cool, so I'm wondering if this is influenced by that also. But again, haven't seen that movie, don't know very much about her movie. I'm drawing two connections to things I probably shouldn't. Alright, The Woman in the Window, or The Thrill of Manila, you're right. The Woman in the Window, which we've been hearing about a lot, and if Will's here, I think he has opinions on. Directed by Joe Wright, will be going to Netflix. Disney sold it to Netflix, which again cast doubt on Hulu that they didn't just send it to Hulu. Which is interesting. You kind of wouldn't expect that happening. Them selling something to Netflix, but I think it's probably a better place to put it. Probably would have been good on Hulu too, but it sounds like Disney was like, hey, we can make some money, and it seems like they're learning from the Paramount playbook, as Paramount's selling off things like fucking crazy. So Ben Affleck is returning to the director's chair, actually, which sounds actually cool. He's making a film about the making of Chinatown, which is a really great movie. It's kind of like it's actually sort of what Who Framed Roger Rabbit is really based on, but it's a non-fiction book literally about the making of Chinatown called The Big Goodbye, kind of about the legendary days of Paramount when you had Robert Evans and all that stuff. So someone would be playing Jack Nicholson, Faye Dunaway, things of that nature. It sounds like a cool movie to me. I think Ben Affleck worked really well with Argo, which is about Hollywood history. It sounds actually really cool. I was thinking recently, and I guess in the past couple years, it's sad to go from, like, you saw Ben Affleck kind of having this climb from like Gone Baby Gone, which I didn't like that much, to The Town, which I thought was pretty cool. It was like a good, well-made action film, to Argo, and it seemed like he went I know he wanted to do Force Awakens, I know he really wanted to do big movies, and then he did the Batman thing and kind of got lost, and he did that auteur movie that didn't work out, all that nonsense, whatever. This seems like a good return to form for him. It sounds like a cool movie. Like, I would honestly at least see it as a cinephile person. So it sounds cool. And if you've never seen Chinatown, see Chinatown. Yeah, Live by Night. Yeah, see, I forgot the whole fucking time. I didn't see it. It's just like, I think he needs to get back to it, and this sounds like a good return for him. As a director, we kind of like lost this guy. In the beginning of the 2010s, he seemed like the major director, and he kind of got lost in trying to be the biggest director in the world after he won Best Picture. But hey, man, that's what happens to a lot of people. After they win Best Picture, they kind of get lost in the hype. Look at the guy who directed The Artist, or don't, because what even happened to that movie? Yeah, how are they going to do the Polanski thing? Never mind. Good luck with that, Ben Affleck. All right, so Blazing Samurai. Now this, okay, so I've known about Blazing Samurai. It's been on this list for a couple days because it is a CGI remake of Blazing Saddles with cats as samurais. How that makes any sense, I have no clue. And now Blazing Saddles was trending before I started the show on Twitter. I don't know. I sort of given up on Mel Brooks with animation after that Spaceballs show. This sounds so stupid to me. I'm not. you know, I know people are like, you could never make Blazing Saddles today, but if we made it with cats as samurais, it works. And I guess the samurai cowboy connection goes back in terms of cinema history, and I'm sure there's a way you could get it to work. But this sounds fucking stupid, so whatever. Quentin Tarantino, we learned that his Star Trek script that was going to happen would be a 1930s gangster movie. It transports the Star Trek cast, and that was in the original series, actually, where they did that. It would transport the cast to kind of a gangster 30s film. That sounds actually really cool, but it sounds like an idea that Tarantino would pitch, and she was like, I don't think anyone really wants to see 30s gangster films right now, bro. But he's also Tarantino, so he might have come up with a good spin on it. It seems like they're really not sure what to do in terms of small screen. Star Trek's made a huge comeback. In terms of the big screen, they have like no clue what to do. So we'll see about that. There's going to be, if you're familiar with the Twitter One Perfect Shot, there's going to be a One Perfect Shot show hosted by Ava DuVernay. It is going to be on HBO Max. I'm assuming Turner Classic Movies will be involved in this in some way. The idea is to have acclaimed directors talk about their influences. Here's the thing. I actually think this is a cool idea. This is one of the shows that actually kind of shows that would get me into cinema, because it'd be like, oh, this director I really likes this old movie, and then I'd go see that old movie. So, and I think TCM's really good at that if they're involved. It didn't say that, but assuming I'm sort of leaping here. But I support this show. I don't love the whole One Perfect Shot thing, because I don't think I don't like this whole like, let's take a perfect shot and make it a background kind of screensaver thing. I don't like that as much. I've done that myself, but I think cinema is more than that, and sometimes that Twitter makes me roll my eyes. I just like whatever. But I do like I like the idea of this, and I'll probably watch the show, and I hope it gets someone into watching an older movie and expanding their cinematic horizons. I think that'd be great. So Pan's Blazing Samurai video. I don't know where. Is this a recent thing? Did he just make this? Hold on. Oh, hold on. Uh-oh. Oh, yeah, he did do that. I forgot about that. Anyway. I forgot about that. See? I can't remember all the things Pan and us have said over the years. I've noticed I really don't, especially if someone's on the podcast, but you think I'd remember that. Anyway. Oh. I cannot see the chat right now. Let me go to this guy. I can sort of see the chat right now. Anyway. All colorful Marvel shots. Nice Empla-T. Anyway. So there is a... What do we have left? There's a silent film that was found, an actually significant silent film called The First Degree. It was directed by Edward Sedgwick, who is best known for directing Buster Keaton's The Cameraman. Pretty big deal, directed some Buster Keaton things. It was found, called The First Degree. It is about a sheep farmer with a secret and the climactic courtroom confrontation that spills the beans. Sounds actually... pretty cool. It sounds actually pretty cool that they found a lost silent film. It isn't available for the public yet, but they're trying to make them do that, so that's cool. I'm sorry I forgot about Blazing Samurai. I don't know. I can't remember, man, and I definitely watched that video. I totally forgot about that. Damn it. Alright, sorry. So, the final, before we go to break, is the trailer for Robin's Wish. It's about the kind of final days of Robin Williams and what happened with the disease and what was doing with his brain and what happened with his eventual suicide. It sounds like a pretty real documentary, to be honest with you. It's going to be on demand, I think, at the beginning of September. But it was a pretty heart-wrenching trailer, at least. I don't know if I'll pay for this necessarily, but I think whenever I do get to see it, it'll be an incredibly moving documentary. Alright, so this will take a little bit. You're right, I was distracted by Pan's video of Dancing Darth Maul. See, that I remembered. Alright, so, let me get this ready. I think I will. So, Ryan was nice enough to get me a nice cameo of someone, and you're about to see who it is. And it's pretty cool. I was really into it, but I mean, it's just amazing that this happened. I don't know, but I'm not going to spoil the surprise. I'm going to let you experience this. It's a couple minutes. It's pretty amazing. I want to thank Ryan for doing this for my birthday. It's pretty, definitely, it keeps making me smile. I watched it like a lot of times, but it's pretty cool. So I hope I do this right. And
Jim! Hello, Jim! It's me, Dana Snyder, the voice of Master Shake. From Aqua Teen Hunger Forest. From Adult Swim. What's the shirt? Mind your own business. Anyway, I hear it's your birthday this month, and your friend Ryan would like to wish you a happy birthday. But he wants me to do it for him because, personally, I think you kind of sickened him a little bit with your... Now that you've gone all YouTube on his ass. Whole channel. All right, fine. What do? Makeup tutorials? Unboxing? Videos? Of opening up your new Nintendo cartridge? Opening new hard-to-find sneakers? Conspiracy? Telling him that Donald Trump's an alien or something? I don't know what it is. I don't know what your channel is. I don't care either. I don't need one. I don't need to watch your stupid channel about all the cool stuff you do. Go skateboarding around town and spray painting your name on windows. I mean, I would like to see it, but, Ryan didn't even tell me what it is. Just says the success of your YouTube channel. Well, I hope he writes me back and lets me know what the hell it is, at least. See, now I have this insatiable curiosity of what it is. And I can't, it's driving me crazy a little bit, I'm going to tell you that. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. Anyway, happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Your name is Jim. Happy birthday, dear Jim. And your YouTube channel, Jim is Cool at YouTube. Happy birthday to you. Well, there you go. That's about as full as experience as it gets, Jim. Oh, here's something, a gift from me, of course. Not from that cheapskate Ryan. Outgoing message for you. Or your stupid YouTube channel that no one cares about except for you and Ryan. Outgoing message. Hello? Yep. Uh-huh. Oh, sorry, Jim ain't here. This is Shake. I'm answering all his crap for him. Anyway, leave him a message at the beep and he'll call you back. Boop. Oh, what a dope. That wasn't the beep at all. That was me just making the beep sound. You get it, dum-dum? Anyway, all right, leave him a ding-dong message, and when he's through shooting his stupid YouTube stuff, I'm sure he'll probably call you back, but he'll probably be recording it for shock value, so be careful what you say. Anyway, leave him a message. All right, Jim. Well, have a wonderful birthday. Have a wonderful YouTube channel. Someone tell me what the fuck it is. No clue. Email me back. Send me back. Text me back. Whatever the hell it is on this. Ryan, you should know what to do. All right. Happy birthday, Jim!
All right. That was pretty cool. Thank you very much, Ryan, for that. That's pretty cool. I hope you all enjoyed. Didn't expect that, did you? Did you? We have a couple special guests today, but that was a pretty good one. All right, so let's actually, he's in the first segment we're reviewing. He is in one of the episodes, Martin Crooker, and Yeah, anyway, first off, thank you very much, Ryan. That was amazing. That was an amazing birthday gift. Thank you very much. I walked out because I have to go to the bathroom. I've obviously seen this a lot of times. Don't worry. I just had to pee. But, alright. But yeah. So I think that was cool. And I'm glad to share it with you. It was actually, Ryan was like, you should do it on the show because I couldn't, it's too long for Twitter. And I would like, if it is, I did post on my Facebook, but, yeah, Dana, yeah, not C. Martin, Dana, sorry. I'm screwing up everything today. I'm sorry. Hold on. I don't know why I said the same marker. It's been a long day, obviously. But Dana Snyder. I knew that was. I don't know why I said. Whatever. All right. So, I liked his insults. Dana Snyder's awesome. All right. I don't know why I said. Whatever. All right. So, first, I did felt destroyed. No, it's just a long day of kid stuff. All right. It's okay, Jim. Thank you. But anyway, thank you very much to Ryan. Doing an awesome job. All right, so let's talk about. I'm going to do, I guess, 3 segments, and the third being the Amazon Prime recommendations with my guest, mainly movies, yeah. But let's get to the 12-ounce mouse. Kind of the 2 things. I obviously reviewed season 1 and 2. I plan to review season 3. But between season 1 and 2 and season 3, there were 2 specials. One was the webisode called Enter the Sand Mouse. The other being Invictus with Dana Snyder was in. The webisode or Enter the Sand Mouse, I did see at the time. I barely remembered it. I rewatched it, obviously, before doing this now. It was online on May 16, 2007. It didn't actually make it to TV until fairly recently, actually on October 12th, 2018, right before, actually on the day Invictus went online, this premiered on TV. Enter the Sand Mouse is basically after they left the simulation, and Stone Peanut Cop and Skillet and several of the characters left the simulation and sort of got lost in this like desert, and then Skillet and Fitz kind of hang out in the desert. Fitz has a sombrero. It's actually I really liked this idea that he was just lost in the desert. I could have watched a whole desert 12-ounce mouse, a 12-ounce mouse kind of like season. To be honest with you, I thought it was a cool concept for a webisode. I really liked it. I know it's very short, but I kind of like the idea that the show ended that way. To be honest with you, for what, like 10, 11 years, pretty much. That's kind of how, that's the last of the show. Like, they're just, like, lost in the desert. A weird kind of female creature meets up with them. That's sort of it. Whatever. Then Invictus happened. Now, Invictus is sort of a pre-thing to season 3, basically. Invictus, it starts out with Fitz is voiced by Seth Green, which is super weird, but for a 12-ounce mouse, I guess that's normal. He's playing, like, a yo-yo sort of thing, and it's sort of like he's left the simulation in this weird world, which pretty much looks like a simulation, goes into it and tries to free everyone, including Shark, which I thought was dead, but who the fuck knows in this world. It's sort of like kind of soft reboots the whole thing, because Skillet is back in the simulation, but I thought Skillet left and those people left, and it seemed like everyone but Fitz hadn't left or something. It feels like it just reboots the whole thing. I don't really like that. I sort of would have liked the desert thing. But supposedly, in Season 3, it throws them all into different dimensions when he opens up the portal and frees all of his friends. And, it'd be about 2 years until this actually, we got Season 3. And I guess it was an idea to set up the idea of a Season 3. Between these two, I guess maybe it is the idea of what the previous incarnation of the show is and what it has become. And I really like Enter the Sand Mouse. I kind of like the weird area of we don't know where the show is going. Sometimes when the show gets into lore, it's just not as exciting, and I think that's sort of maybe not even what I pursue the show for. Maybe people do. I understand what people like about the complex story that seem to get more into it, but I sort of don't like when they do a soft reboot thing. So I think of the two, I would say the webisode Enter the Sand Mouse is probably it's probably one of the least talked about things of all 12-ounce mouse, and I would say that is the thing you should see as a fan. Whereas the Invictus, I guess you have to see. To be honest, it's like kind of selling like a half issue in a comic book series or something like that. And it's fine. It's kind of weird and strange, but it just didn't excite me the way Enter the Sandman says. I probably remember more of Enter the Sandmouse than I do, which is like half the length or something, than this half-hour thing, which I kind of didn't love, and it's like doing this weird thing, and like Seth Green's voice is like, I liked it, but I don't know what this says for season 3, which I really haven't watched. This is sort of a between review between those two. But I still saw the potential in it. Kind of like, at least get me excited because I like Shark. I like those characters. I like the idea of like all these pizzas and like seeing the characters again, although I just watched season 1 and 2, so I don't know if like, it's probably cooler if you haven't seen the show in a while to see all those characters return. I like what they do with the eye creature. And I mean, I guess I'm a little too hard on Invictus because I watch these back to back, and that sort of unfairly compares them. I think if I just seen Invictus on TV, I would have just been happy and be like, oh my god, it's back and stuff like that. But in terms of like the whole scope of the show, I wasn't as into it. So I think these are still a good way. One is kind of like what I sort of like them going into, like seeing what the world is outside of the simulation or the dimension or whatever. And the other is kind of like giving an answer and giving a storyline to more of it. And I guess I need to see where that's going to fully like tell you what's going on with Invictus, but I'm probably more of a Sandmouse person in general. Alright, so Mars Needs Mouse, good one. I'm glad people are watching 12-ounce mouse. That's cool. Alright, so the Spongebob Anime. Oh, I never got to open the second Red Bull. Oh well. Save it for next time, maybe. So, the Spongebob Anime. I had heard about this. I saw what was going on Twitter, and I really hadn't heard about it fully, and I saw Saber made a video, and I was like, okay, I'm sort of interested. And I actually really like the idea of sort of taking SpongeBob and making a different, whole different kind of anime with it. It's sort of like deconstructing SpongeBob, but doing it in a sort of Dragon Ball type way, which was interesting. They don't make it into a funny anime SpongeBob, something like that, which could be interesting. What this guy did is he made it into like a very serious kind of SpongeBob thing, and taking it with all the anime tropes and changing it and making it kind of like very serious, but if you know SpongeBob, it's extra funny. It very much reminds me of sort of the deboot idea of the Power Rangers, Joseph Kahn Power Rangers thing. But it seems like, I wouldn't say it's like that because they had like no awareness of what Power Rangers was at all, and making it a dark reboot is like sort of a sort of strange comment on it. I think this is this does kind of obviously know SpongeBob and know the characters and do things like that. I did quite enjoy it. I know this guy also did a part for Shrek Retold and stuff like that. I think he's a really good animator. I thought he was really did a good job of recontextualizing SpongeBob and making it in a different way. And SpongeBob's one of those characters who is so omnipresent. It's such an interesting idea. I know they're doing an American dub. I sort of wish Tom Kenny and all them, and like this was just an episode of SpongeBob, and they like Nickelodeon would be cool with it. I don't like what YouTube did, like giving them 2 strikes for it, saying it was not for kids. I thought it was like fine under the context of what it was. I just thought that was inappropriate. So it's cool that YouTube changed its decision on that one, because I think it's actually a really, really well animated, really cool, really shows you what different cultures interpret things as, shows you what different kind of styles of storytelling are versus one and versus the other. And the SpongeBob anime kind of brings all that up. Like it brings up like when you're telling a story through this lens versus that lens, what that does to it, and kind of taking these tropes and doing it with anime, and like you all know the statement with that. I sort of like the sub more than the dub because the sub is like mainly how I experience anime, but I guess that's your own personal choice. I thought they did an amazing job with it. I'm curious to see this guy do stuff that isn't just recontextualizing things in these anime forms, but at the same time, and I don't know their work that well. I still really, really loved. I really, really love this show. I thought it was really funny. It's fun seeing like Patrick and everybody just like made into these weird anime characters, and SpongeBob not really acting like SpongeBob, like acting like this altruistic like anime character, but that's sort of who SpongeBob is. And so it like works perfectly. It like showed a real love for it and a love for anime, and like mixing the two and understanding those worlds perfectly. And it's kind of like weird criticism of how all these things like sort of, you know, their similarities and their differences, and mixing them all together in this kind of beautiful, kind of weird postmodern pop culture way, which I think like is very much like this age of the internet, and kind of in a post Shrek retold way. It absolutely was perfect. I don't know about the SpongeBob video game. All right, so Amazon Prime. Wow, we're really like blowing through this. Amazon Prime. Now I'm going to do Amazon Prime picks for August 2020. I haven't done Amazon Prime in a long time, apparently, in terms of doing these recommendation things. And I wasn't actually going to, and Mainly Movies asked, when I asked her to be on the show, have her own recommendations, and or to be in this video, she suggested it, and I'm actually really glad. So thank you very much for suggesting it. You should check out her channel. It's a great channel. She makes a lot of great videos. But let's get to mine, and then we will get to hers a little later, or later in this video or stream. So I wanted to recommend some things that are on Amazon Prime. First off, the big original movie that Amazon Prime has, I've reviewed it already, but I think it is probably one of the best things, best movies of the year. Is called The Vast of Night. It is a really great movie. It's about these two kids trying to figure out an alien abduction, or not an alien abduction, or kind of an alien abduction, figure out this thing with aliens going on in their small town. It is wonderful, really economical little indie, and I think it is I think it is a really great short, and you should a really great movie, and you should definitely check it out. I really like Vast of Night. I was sort of like overly critical of it, but I still actually really enjoyed it. I've thought about watching it again. I think that director has a lot of promise. It kind of like a very small economical kind of film, but I thought it was a really cool, like fun mystery that you should definitely check out if you're looking for like a good, very good 2020 movie. That would be up there for me. They also have drive-in movie ads, which I enjoyed checking out. Amazon Prime has some interesting stuff. Sometimes I think they just buy blocks of rights of things and don't really think about it, but they do. I know they have, as probably one of streaming services, they're on the higher tier in terms of content. They had drive-in movie ads, which is kind of cool. They also have Knives Out, as well as Rocket Man. If you haven't seen either of those, they're pretty good. I also wanted to point out with Amazon Prime, I'm only selecting films that are free with the service. I know it's a weirder service in that there are things you can buy on demand in addition to what's free with the service, but these are all things that are free on the service, or at least at the time that I was suggesting it. I know sometimes you have to sign up for Showtime for a week, or sign up for Stars or something like that, but in general, we're only suggesting things that are free. So if you already have an Amazon Prime, you can do that. I'm not really going to talk about My Spy because I didn't see it, but I've heard it's all right. I don't know. Anyway, Logan Lucky, which is a Steven Soderbergh film from a couple of years ago. I'm sort of quite fond of it. It stars Channing Tatum, Adam Driver, Daniel Craig. It's a good kind of heist movie from the guy who made Ocean's 11. It's sort of underrated at this point, but you should definitely check that out. They also have How to Train Your Dragon, the first one, which I've watched a lot of times recently. We actually watch this service a lot more than I probably give it credit for, because they also have, my daughter watches Bubble Guppies on there. I'll recommend this third season of Bubble Guppies. You can check that out. As well as Bumblebee is actually on Amazon Prime, believe it or not. Also Mommy Dearest, which is a great camp movie. If you need a movie to get drunk with your friends, Mommy Dearest is amazing. All about the life of Joan Crawford and how poorly she treated her kids, but it's funnier than what I just described. As well as, I'm not really recommending it, but it's there, Wonder Park, which I'm sure a lot of you guys are more familiar with. Also, if you're getting ready for Tenet, or the eventuality of Tenet, or whatever, Inception is actually on there, and you should check that out if you've never seen Inception. There's, one thing that's really good, a documentary series that I really liked on there is Lorena, about Lorena Bobbitt. which really kind of contextualizes the sexism in terms of what went down with her and everything that happened with her in terms of the whole treatment of her in the media, which not enough people talk about. They also have both Escape from New York and Escape from LA. I'm only recommending Escape from New York. I know some people are like Escape from LA. I'm not one of those people, but Escape from New York is a certifiable classic. They also have the animated Pete the Cat, which is more for kids, but I'll just throw that in there because I like that. And Elvis Costello is the voice of his dad, as well as, and I found this kind of just by accident, Riff Tracks made a riff track of No Retreat, No Surrender, which is what I saw recently when I saw Mystery Science Theater live. They did that movie live as Mystery Science Theater. So if you're a big Mystery Science Theater fan, you might want to check out that riff tracks because it's a different version of the same movie and it's free with Prime. All right, so now I'm going to get with, we're going to watch, we're going to watch Mainly Movies talk about her recommendations for Amazon Prime, and I want to thank her very much for being on this show and on this video and helping me with the selection. And here, hopefully it'll work. Jesus, what's going on with these lights tonight? Anyway, here are her recommendations for Amazon Prime, and thank you very much for doing it.
Hey everybody, Alyssa here from Mainly Movies. First off, I want to say thank you to Jim for inviting me on to share some Prime Video movie recommendations with you guys. So I've got 5 recommendations for you, and I tried to come up with a pretty good mix of movies. Different genres, different years, some that are fairly well known while others are a bit more obscure. But the best part is, all of these movies are included free with Prime Video. So if you have Amazon Prime, you already have access to all of these movies at no extra cost. So my first recommendation for you is Charade. Now this is a 1963 film starring Cary Grant and Audrey Hepburn, and it was directed by Stanley Donen, who was pretty well known for a lot of musicals in the 40s and 50s, like Singin' in the Rain and On the Town, but this is no musical. In fact, this movie combines a lot of genres, and that could be a big challenge, but it all works so well here as this cohesive thing. It's part spy thriller, part whodunit mystery, part romantic comedy, all held together by a compelling story and really great interplay between Cary Grant and Audrey Hepburn. I would recommend this one to pretty much anybody, but if you're a fan of Alfred Hitchcock's movies, I think you're especially gonna love this one. My second recommendation is Hereditary. So this was released by A24 in 2018, making it the newest film I'm going to be recommending to you today, and it was the directorial debut of Ari Aster. So this is a very dark movie. It's typically billed as a horror film, and I agree with that genre classification, but it's not, I guess, your typical horror movie. This one's very emotionally draining, and is a darkly tragic family drama in addition to the horror. And Toni Collette gives an amazing performance here, which deserved a lot more recognition than it actually got. So I'd recommend this one to anybody who wants a really dark, surprising, grief-filled horror movie. Ari Aster's second film, Midsummer, is also available on Prime Video right now, so if you end up liking Hereditary, there's a bonus recommendation for you. My third recommendation is Inherit the Wind. So we're jumping from the newest movie on the list to the oldest, because this one came out in 1960. It was directed by Stanley Kramer and starred Spencer Tracy, Gene Kelly, and Frederick March, and was loosely based on the real-life Scopes monkey trial. This film's a courtroom drama that centers around a southern small-town high school science teacher who's arrested for teaching his biology students about evolution. And it's such a fascinating story that looks at the interconnections between science and religion and politics and the law and public perception of all of these things. This is one of my absolute favorite courtroom dramas, and Spencer Tracy gives an excellent performance with some really strong monologues. So this is one I'd recommend to pretty much anybody. My fourth recommendation is The Silence of the Lambs. So now we're jumping from the most obscure to arguably the most well-known and popular movie on this list. This one was released in 1991, directed by Jonathan Demme, and starred Jodie Foster and Anthony Hopkins in 2 of their most iconic roles. It's a psychological thriller with horror elements as well as police procedural crime drama elements. It focuses on Jodie Foster as Clarice Starling, who's an FBI trainee as she's trying to help solve a serial killer case. And in order to do so, she repeatedly interviews another serial killer, Hannibal Lecter, who's currently in custody. And so this is a great film with a really interesting story and some excellent performances. It gets a little dark and creepy at times, but if you can handle that type of thing, I would definitely recommend it. And my fifth recommendation is To Kill a Mockingbird. This is another movie that's really well known, so there's a good chance you've probably seen it before, but there's never a bad time to rewatch this one. It was released in 1962 as an adaptation of Harper Lee's 1960 Pulitzer Prize-winning novel of the same name, which I'm sure most of us read in high school. So this movie's a drama, with quite a bit of courtroom drama in the second half. It features a fantastic performance by Gregory Peck as Atticus Finch, a lawyer in 1930s Alabama who's defending Tom Robinson, a black man who's been accused of raping a white woman. So the story itself is really compelling and still extremely relevant today, but it has this unique quality that separates it from other courtroom dramas, because it's told from the perspective of Atticus Finch's 6-year-old daughter, Scout. So there's this element of innocence to the story that also makes it a bit of a coming-of-age tale at the same time. So this is another movie that I would recommend to anybody. Alright, so those were my 5 recommendations for movies that are currently on Prime Video, and I hope that some of these movies are either ones that are new to you that you're excited to check out, or maybe old favorites that you haven't had a chance to watch in a while. So once again, I want to thank Jim for having me on, and you can find me at Mainly Movies on YouTube as well as all the other social media platforms where I talk about a lot of movies.
Okay, thank you very much, Alyssa from Mainly Movies, for being on the show. Thank you very much, Alyssa from Mainly Movies, for being on this video for Amazon Prime recommendations or Amazon Prime picks. These are all selections that are free on the service. To Killing Mockingbird is a great pick. You should all definitely see that. Anyway, subscribe to her channel. She has some great content coming out, and very much thank you for being on the show. Check out some stuff on Amazon Prime. They have better stuff than people really realize, and I think there's some really cool gems and classics, and they're very good at having a wide selection of things. So check out some of these picks. It'll give you at least something to watch in the long, hot month of August. And yeah. All right, just an announcement. Oh, okay, here from Will. Just an announcement that Away is now free to watch on Tubi, my pick for Best Animation in 2019. Thank you very much. That's awesome. Thank you. I didn't know that. Thank you very much. Cheers to you, Will. Alright, so I should see Lost City Uzi. I haven't actually seen it on Blood Tea, so that's my bad. I've heard it's really good. Alright, so let's do some questions and then wrap up the show. Now I have two. So I really have one Patreon question, but I'll get to that. All right. So Austin, who we all know who's here still, I think he's still here, said, "Hi Jim, movie crap chat. I'm gonna read this whole thing. I hope Austin doesn't mind. I'm having lunch on a patio safely. It's COVID. Wear a mask, people. Talking with a friend about Seth Rogen TMNT movie, and came up with the casting of the film to be Seth Rogen as Mikey, Christopher Mintz-Plasse as McLovin as Donatello, Danny McBride would be Raphael, and Dave Baruchel would be Leo, Craig Robinson would be Shredder. So my question, what would be your dream casting for the new movie? P.S. Jonah Hill would play nobody. My dream cast for TMNT, and I thought about this a little, but I don't have a great answer, Austin. I'm sorry. For the perfect cast I would actually just get the original voice actors, but I'm sure they sound old at this point. But if I was going to pick 4 people, I might actually go with... God, that's difficult. I would probably go with like the voice actors from either Rise of TMNT or something like that. But if you're going to go with like bigger people, I would maybe go with I don't know. It's hard. It's hard to cut. This is a tough one. I would maybe go with like. Part of me wants to do like people from the Wu-Tang Clan in the 90s. I think that's my answer. Fine. I would go like Method Man would be Raphael, RZA would be Leo, Jizza would be Donatello. an old dirty bastard would be Michelangelo. That's a terrible answer, but that's what I'm going with. That's what I want. That's what I want. Tyler says, have you seen Strasbourg 1518, the new-ish short from Jonathan Glazer did for BBC? I have not, but I implore you all to do that. I didn't get to see it, and he sent it to me 2 hours before the show. I didn't have enough time to do that, but it sounds really cool that there's a newish short from Jonathan Glazer. All right, so I'm going to go through all the questions. All right, who's the first one? I think it's Jacob Shelter. With the drama on Ellen's workplace, would that affect Green Eggs and Ham and her HBO Max cartoon Little Ellen? I don't think Little Ellen's happening. Green Eggs and Ham, they can just probably recast that, but I don't think Little Ellen's happening, or it's at least being probably considered. It's also, I know her ratings have dropped, but I'm sort of curious if she'll make a comeback from this. It seems like she's pretty impervious up until now, but we'll see. There haven't been many allegations towards her, but you know, she sounds sort of like an awful person. I don't know if she'll really walk away from the show, but we'll see about that. But I think I would say Little Ellen isn't happening, but hey, Little Rosie or whatever did, so we'll see. Cornbread, the power scared made me think hypothetically, how would you handle losing power halfway through the stream, move the other stories to next week, or retry doing a stream pre-recorded video? I would probably just stop, and if I had stories left over, I would do it the next week. That's probably what I would do. I think. I don't know. We'll see. Emily T, has anyone got publicly mad at you for wearing a mask? No. I don't think so. And they shouldn't. They'd be a jerk. Bruce Parker, most disturbing indie film. I saw Gummo a lot, so maybe that used to be played like too much. Too many people watch it. Non-plausible, when will you be moving Movie Craft to Access? Well, I'm trying to, but Butch keeps delaying the launch date. And it's like, that was the plan. You leaked it. That's what we're going to do on. Zane Powers, thoughts on the Nostalgia Critic review of Hazbin Hotel? You know, I really didn't talk about the backlash of Hazbin Hotel, which I wanted to talk about. I didn't watch the Nostalgia Critic thing, but I will say, what I don't get about the Hazbin Hotel backlash is, like, I think everyone wants... Like, when it was announced, people were like, well, if her characters weren't so complicated. I'm like, why? I never heard of this in animation, people criticizing people for design like this. It's frankly ridiculous. It seems like everyone's complaint is like, it's basically like people complaining about the movie The Little Mermaid, and they're like, what if we made the movie The Little Mermaid like the Saturday morning Disney show The Little Mermaid instead? And that would be easier to animate. And I'm like, what? What are you, stupid? Like, I think it's like people just like, I get that you would design something differently, but like you don't, that's like a one sentence criticism, and people have made whole videos about it and tweet about it constantly. I'm just like, you've crossed the line criticism, and you're just being frankly sort of a jerk at this point. I'm sick of it. Anyway, I'm sorry. I realized when you brought that up. I'm sorry, Zane Powers, for doing that. Now, your question, but I just think it's weird. I think he doesn't know what to review right now, Doug Walker. That's what I think. Ace the Wind Rider, who is the most powerful film in film or TV animated included? What? I don't understand that. I'm a little confused, Austin. Maybe ask me this on Film Friday, because I'm confused. Ryan asks, did you watch the new Sesame Street special? We actually did not get to, but we plan to. I did watch the second episode of Muppets Now, and I thought it was better than the first. And I've already said I don't like the criticism that people laid against the first episode. I thought people were too harsh. Not plausible. What do you have to say regarding Disney's first financial slump since 2000? I think it's COVID. I mean, what are you going to do? I think it was natural what's going to happen, and they're trying to turn it around with this Mulan thing, but I don't think they can. Should Irate Gamer make a movie? From Bruce Parker. No. Do nice guys finish lasting power? Sometimes. Not plausible. What will it take for you to dab? It will take... I mean, I don't know. I guess if someone did a super chat, I would, but I'm probably going to end soon, so I don't know if you'll have the time. What is the best dad joke you ever made? I can't think of it now, but I'm sure I know I've made some. Where can I send fan art that isn't Twitter? I have an email in my YouTube about. I would say that. That'd be good if you want to. If you don't want other people to see it, that's fine. But I like to show it when I can. Did you ever play Metroid or Castlevania on the NES growing up? I played Metroid. I was very bad at it. So, I would like my regular order 13 beers. Nice, Austin. All right. Are there any more questions before I finish? Let's do Forever Zord. Thoughts on the direct-to-video Sesame Street services like Sing, Hoot, and Howl and 123 Contact With Me? I don't know those as well, unfortunately. But I don't really get the hate for even her on that. She's very nice. I don't know. She seemed like a nice person. I don't get it. Who sucks? Everybody sucks. All right. I think that's it. I think we're going to get going. Thank you all for being here again on another Saturday night. Sorry it was so doom and gloom with all the movie theater stuff, but I think that's sort of the news this week. I'll be back next week with new stuff. Check out all my videos, the 12 Ounce Mouse video, the January video, the Batman Dead End segment, the Netflix thing. The 12 Ounce Mouse review segment will probably come out maybe even next Sunday, and the Prime and the Spongebob Anime will come out later. I think it is time to say adieu, but thank you very much for being here. Thank you for being as awesome of you here. Thank you for Ryan for the awesome birthday gifts. Thank you to Alyssa from Mainly Movies for being on the show. Thank you to Dana Snyder. Thank you all for being here. I think it is time to have a good night, but I will see you all next time, and subscribe if you subscribe if YouTube's being very weird. If you would like to. Have a good night, everybody. I think.